So let's talk about an idea that's, well, it's more than a little out there. It's a radical, deeply passionate proposal. We're not just talking about remembering three of the most famous ships ever built. We're talking about a plan to literally bring them back to life. This is the incredible dream of resurrecting the Olympic-class liners. And this quote right here, it just nails it. You know, the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. They were meant to be sisters, a legendary trio that would rule the Atlantic. But as we all know, fate had a completely different and heartbreakingly separate plan for each of them. Their collective story was never finished. Just look at how it played out. You had the Olympic, the old reliable, the only one to actually have a full career, a solid 24 years before being sent to the scrapyard. Then, of course, the Titanic, we all know that story. And the youngest sister, Britannic? She was almost immediately pulled into World War I, refitted as a hospital ship, and sank before ever carrying a single paying passenger. The dream of seeing them sail together, it just vanished. So let's start there, with this powerful legend and this unfulfilled promise. Because these really weren't just ships. They were seen as pinnacles of ambition, of art, of an entire era. And this is where the idea gets really wild. This isn't about building some modern copies, like a theme park version. The vision is so much bigger, so much more profound. It's about a genuine rebirth, about somehow carrying the actual soul of the originals into our time. But okay, before we get lost in the dream, we have to slam on the brakes and face a very harsh reality. What's actually down there at the bottom of the sea? They're not pristine time capsules waiting for a little polish. The philosophy here is just fascinating. The argument is that after a century dissolving in salt water, you can't just patch these ships up. Trying to bring them back with, as the source puts it, glue and screws would be an insult. For the people who believe in this, the only way forward, the only respectful way, is a total rebirth. Exactly. The metal is rusted through, the structures are collapsing. They aren't artifacts you can restore. They are magnificent ruins. But, and this is the key, their materials are viewed as something sacred. Ingredients that can be gathered, melted down, and forged into something new. Which brings us to the process itself. And it's presented as something far more than just an engineering challenge. It's framed almost like a sacred ritual. The plan has 4 absolutely monumental steps. First, do the impossible. Raise the wrecks of Titanic and Britannic from the deep. Second, purify them. That means taking them apart piece by piece and melting down that original steel. Third, using the original blueprints, the sacred scripture, rebuild them, preserving their soul. And finally, to complete the trio, you recreate the lost sister, the Olympic, from scratch. So how would this even work? Well, it's this hybrid idea, a modern skeleton with a classic skin. On the inside, deep in the hull, you'd have completely modern engines, navigation, safety systems, everything to make them 100% safe for today. But on the outside, every deck, every lounge, every chandelier, it would be an exact emotional, atmospheric recreation. You'd swear you just stepped back in time. Okay, but what would something like this actually cost? As you can probably guess, the price for resurrecting legends is pretty legendary itself. The number they've put on it is just staggering. To raise 2 ships from the abyss, reforge their steel, and build all 3 to this incredible standard, you're looking at a bill of over $1 billion. And a number like that, it just immediately brings this whole fantastic dream crashing right back down to earth. And this really gets to the heart of the whole debate. On one side, you have the dreamers. They see this as creating priceless floating museums, a poetic tribute that could finally finish a chapter of history. But on the other side, you have the pragmatists. They point to that insane cost, arguing that the original craftsmanship is gone forever and that you can't just recreate the cultural context of 1912. And then there's the heavy psychological weight of that name, Titanic. But when you get right down to it, the argument for this isn't really about the money or the engineering. It's about something else entirely. It's about passion. At the very core of this whole proposal is this incredibly poetic belief that the ships aren't just dead, silent wrecks, that they're somehow entities waiting for a second chance, a belief that they're calling out from the darkness, just hoping that someone, someday, will bring them home. So the ultimate goal here is to rewrite the ending of the story. To give these three sisters the one thing they never had, the chance to meet at sea, to sail together as the fleet they were always supposed to be. To turn symbols of tragedy into icons of rebirth, and to create living, breathing history instead of just a memory. And that leaves us with this final, massive question. Is it better to bring a legend roaring back to life with all the costs and compromises that involves? Or is its true power found in leaving it untouched in our memory, a perfect, powerful, and poignant story of what was and what might have been?